Hi everyone, welcome to the Hot, Hip and Human interviews. Today we're speaking with Vasiliki Galani from Doehler about their business and how SAP Customer Experience helped Doehler to adapt solutions they're using to fit their unique business processes. My co-host for this episode is Johannes Dommel, a technical consultant from SAP Customer Experience. So sit back, unplug, and get ready to learn how easy it is to customize your SAP CX solutions. Spoiler alert, the technology is Kyma. Enjoy! Hi everyone, welcome to the Hot, Hip and Human interviews by SAP Customer Experience, where we talk about what's hot in this hip format, keeping it genuine, unplugged and human. My name is Svetlana and I'm going to be your host today. For this episode, we have the pleasure of welcoming Vasiliki Galani, aka Vicky, as our guest. Hi, Vicky, and welcome to the show.
Hello, great to be here.
And because we have a rather technical topic today covering Kyma, among other things, we have Johannes Dommel with us today. Johannes is a technical consultant at SAP Customer Experience. Hi, Johannes. Thanks for joining.
Happy to be here.
And for those who are not familiar with Kyma, Kyma is a platform for extending applications with serverless functions and microservices. And that's a tongue twister. I think we need to come up with a more human way of explaining what Kyma is. And maybe we do it in this episode. Okay, let's get started. Vicky, I know that Doehler produces natural ingredients for food and beverage industry. And I think to run all these various operations that are part of your business, you sometimes have to customize some of the solutions that you're using. For example, let's talk about ice cream, like summer. And you get an order from a customer to create a new flavor for their ice creams. And there's going to be a process of samples and tasting, a little bit of back and forth. And this is not something that is natively supported by SAP Sales Cloud. Is it correct?
The cycle of turning an idea or a customer wish to an amazing product usually comprises of many loops of discussing, developing, dispatching, tasting, and feedback integrations, both with our customers, but of course also internally. And each individual step of this cycle was so far partially covered by our S/4HANA, a couple of other custom applications, and partially by our Sales Cloud platform. Therefore, the challenge was clear. How can we extend and connect all these pieces together in a short time and, very important, with low development effort and cost, in order to bring the whole flow and information to the palm of our Salesforce's hand, right? And this specific challenge was shared, as always, with our SAP partners, who presented us with Extension Factory, or also known as Kyma.
Cool. And Johannes, I know that you worked closely with Doehler to solve this challenge, and I can already hear from Vicky that they're pretty happy with the results. So could you tell us a little bit more about how SAP supported Doehler on the technical side and how we helped to adapt the solutions to fit their unique business process?
Well, you need to know that in that case, we could not start on the green field. The sampling process was already established across this complex landscape Vicky mentioned, and it is one of Doehler's major processes within the sales cycle. So what we did at first is we created an architecture which allows us to implement the new sampling process on Kyma as a side-by-side extension to various systems. And one of the goals was not to touch the existing sampling process during this implementation phase. So salespeople could do their daily work, and they even didn't know that we are working in the background to simplify and to integrate or have the process more integrated. And at the end, we could really ensure here a smooth transition. Also, the existing interfaces to the various backend system and other applications needed to be considered in this architecture. And I think with Kyma, we found the right fit to cover the requirements from Doehler into the heterogeneous system landscape. The second step was, after the architecture was finished, we brought in specialists from our team, expert service team, and also from the product management team, and had an enablement workshop with the development team at Doehler. The goal was to familiarize with Kyma and the design of microservices. The outcome of the workshop was amazing. The team could produce within half a day already a clickable proof of concept, which was reusing the concepts and principles of Kyma and microservices here. And we could also connect to certain of the to specific systems within Doehler.
Wow, sounds really cool. And I already see some clear business benefits here, right? So for me, as I understand it, Kyma means less technical complexity. For example, you don't need to hire a team of developers to extend the solution, right? You can just have a half-a-day workshop and you learn how to use Kyma, and you can use tools or programming languages that you prefer. This is, I think, a true embodiment of customer freedom. Vicky, would you agree?
Well, by all means, and just to be sincere, yeah, of course we have faced challenges during our project implementation, but I mean, let's be honest, who hasn't when implementing SAP new toys, right? But the important thing is that we managed to cope and resolve the problems due to our development team commitment and the support of our SAP partners. And bottom line, in Dohler business case, has proven to be a flexible way to extend and integrate on-premise and cloud application. And to be more specific, as you mentioned, yeah, so our commerce development team was already familiar with the HTML programming language or the JavaScript. So no time lost in acquiring particular or difficult know-how. I'm not a deep technician in the Kyma technical details, but I think Johannes can elaborate more on the microservices part during our project implementation.
For sure, Vicky. Though with the development team, we have chosen the ones or the frameworks which they are familiar in. This allowed us to speed up here. And on top, the microservices and the event consumption architecture of Kyma and this loose coupling of those microservices. This gives very high flexibility to the team in terms of creating and developing in a very fast way simple or single requirements. If I mention here the user interface screen is one which had been simplified by you. And with the implementation of the UI, we created a microservice which is just controlling the pop-up of those input screens. So this input screen can be used in any of our CX solutions or even in third-party solutions.
Right, and in order to speak in more human words, yeah, and what's important for the end users, this whole process included the creation of simplified sampling screens, master or configuration, data read on the fly, which are very important in order to validate the correct information, single sign-on authentication, so no credentials to log into the different connected systems, error logging, tracing, monitoring, and without exaggeration, I could say that this was almost done without any complex coding, neither in S4 or in the C4 Cloud Platform. One additional, yes, Johannes, if you want to elaborate more, please do so.
Yes, exactly. Because on this part, exactly, this was the idea, or this was the principle of Kyma. They're saying we're gonna keep the logic separated from the core in the Sales Cloud, and we're gonna keep it flexible and reusable, although that you can connect to those microservices again if you need them in your further project steps, or even in other projects or in other applications.
Right, right. In short, yeah, for this specific project, for our sampling, complicated sampling process, indeed, Kyma has proven to be the necessary tool to easily and quickly extend and combine our flow steps. I know, Johannes, you already mentioned the scalability and reusability, especially for the Commerce Cloud. So, yeah, indeed, this is what future brings for Doehler.
Yeah, the Commerce Cloud integration basically is something which is out of the box there. But with the design of the services itself, we also consider the steps ahead and the future possibilities, which are huge in that case. So one of the things is what we considered is that the user journey using an UI, for example, should always be the same. Nevertheless, from where it starts this journey. And going even the step after this, we can say that an end consumer, a customer of yours, can then use the same screens your salespeople are using in the day-by-day work to support the customer here.
Right, right. And this is an important vision Doehler is having for the future, the short-term future, not long-term future, always. Yeah, I mean, increased scalability is one of the most important benefits we are having when we decided to implement Extension Factory. And the proof of that is that we have already rolled out technically, and we are globally rolling out the product development process, which is a preceding step of our sampling process when we need to develop a new product for a customer. So basically what we have done by extending and reusing the same architecture and microservices, we were able to extend and integrate development orders into our opportunity management in Sales Cloud. And most important, and I'm not exaggerating on that, it took us approximately 1 month to achieve that. Our next goal is to extend the integration between our Sales and Commerce Cloud, specifically for our products portfolio. Commerce Cloud, or also known as BIM, will become the central repository for our products, both for sales and customers.
Yeah, with Kyma here, I think the most benefit to mention is that we can achieve an enhanced searching, filtering, and also a validation of product attributes, and providing the same interface to external and to internal users and stakeholders.
What else can I share with you? What else is coming? An advanced integration with our S4-based pricing tool for the pricing, costing, and quoting activities. And finally, an overall product status and state tracking within our Sales Cloud opportunity management across the system landscape. The biggest benefit out of it is that sales will be able to communicate any product-related changes or activities or updates to our customers, improving speed and accuracy in our service. It goes without saying that Kyma will be the key technology to achieve that required extensibility at speed, and we hope to keep our SAP partners along the way of this journey.
No pressure, Johannes, right?
No pressure.
A long way to go. But I think
most of these things are already on paper. That's the good thing.
yeah, well, I think what is most important here is that, we talked about complex business scenarios, and usually you would expect that the technology behind these scenarios is even more complex, which in this case is not quite so. And Kyma seems to be so intuitive and user-friendly. And to me, it's a great shift from product-oriented to customer-oriented future, right? When the solution serves your exact needs, and you as a customer have some freedom to choose how you want to interact with it. And I think that's exactly how the things should be.
Right.
Yeah. Good. If there is nothing else to add, no more secrets to share.
Kyma is as complex as you need it, or can be as complex as you need it, and as simple as you want it. So it's your decision.
Couldn't agree more with that statement.
Well said. I think we'll print it out and I put it somewhere. I'll find Kyma folds here in Waldorf and we'll put it on the wall. All right. With that, I think we can wrap up. And I would like to thank Vicky for joining us today. And I hope you really enjoyed the discussion.
My pleasure. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, absolutely. And Johannes, thank you so much for being my co-host today and helping us navigate the technical landscape.
Svetlana, it was a pleasure.
All right. And for everything that we discussed today, check out the comments below to find more information. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any new topics coming up. And spread the word. Let us know what you think using the hashtag hothiphuman. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.